Anti-Afro-Spengalis, I am coming on here because I need to relay to you all a particularly disgusting, revolting, and illegal act that's been perpetrated upon one of our active duty service members. I am sticking with our plan. I won't be mentioning any names, but I have provided a link down at the bottom where you can go to Rev G's channel and you will be able to fill in all of the blanks where the names should be, and you will know exactly who I'm talking about. And this person is a supporter of the Anti-Fraud Warrior mission and movement and has been subjected to federal criminal acts from idiots who think they're cute, who think what they're doing is not going to come with severe consequences. Yes, you are right. This individual has been subjected to harassment, stalking, and doxxing. And don't think for a second that this individual isn't going to stand up and take action against every single person who engaged in this behavior. Now, let me tell you something about two words that make the situation particularly egregious. Security clearance. Those of you out there who've served in the military or have relatives in the military know that essentially every person in the military is required to get some form of security clearance. We aren't supposed to necessarily know what that clearance is because it's confidential. This exacerbates a situation where somebody targets a member of the military because it causes all types of issues and concerns which that military service member can't necessarily disclose to us, but has to immediately inform the command. And that is what's going on. Now, let me tell you something. I'm going to give you some more information about this situation, which is absolutely outrageously disgusting, and it needs to be dealt with legally with federal charges. Those of you who have listened to me for a while know that my father was a career military man. Brothers were in the military, two of my brothers, multiple uncles, one of my sisters, cousins, it's just countless. My father did 20 plus years in the military. I was born on a military base, so I'm very familiar with what the military laws and regulations entail. Although I was not an active duty member myself, obviously I know what the hell I'm talking about when it comes to the seriousness that we're dealing with. I want to actually tell you something about security clearances before I go on with the episode. I'm not sure if I told you guys this or not. I think I may have, but I'm going to repeat what happened to me. When I was an undergrad, there were, I think, 4 or 5 positions at one of the aerospace industry complexes, these huge complexes. And there was, I think, 400 people applied for this job, this internship. It was a paid internship. I was so happy. I was one of the people who got selected. So in order to work there, you need to get a security clearance. However, you are able to start and be in certain parts of the facility that don't require that particular security clearance. So I filled out all my forms. I was set to go the first day, and I was pulled aside and told that I can't start. I'm going, why? Because there's a problem with your security clearance forms, because the forms are being filled out while you are working. I'm like, well, what's the problem? So they brought me into this room. They made it clear I wasn't starting that day. We have a problem with your forms. I'm like, well, what's happening? They accused me. Listen very carefully. They didn't ask me. They told me, you gave false information on a security clearance form. You know, that's a felony, and you're going to be put in jail if you do that. I'm like, what are you talking about? So they pulled out this form or these forms, and they said that You said, now they're not asking me, remember, right? They're telling me, you said you went to, I'm not going to name the college, it was in Tennessee, and you got a 2-year degree from there. That is false. We called, we confirmed that you never went to that college and you never got a 2-year degree. And I looked at this woman, I'm going, that's right. I never went to that college. I never got a 2-year degree from that college. I went to this college and got a 2-year degree. And by that time, the security person walks in there, right? I'm like, I cannot believe. I wanted to jump up and just leave. I was so PO'd. So they're telling me that I insisted that I went to this college, this 2-year college in Tennessee. I said, you have a paper in your hand. Can I see what you're referring to? So she showed me this paper, and I had my name, had my social security, had colleges on there. And it named this college in Tennessee. I said, okay, I know what the problem is. Do you have the application that I filled out? The application I was asking if she had was the application for the internship. What she had was just a single sheet of paper that had colleges and training. I'm asking her, do you have the intern application? Well, no, it's upstairs. I don't have it. That's what her response is. But she's coming at me with a document that I did not complete and accusing me of falsely placing on that form, which is part of the security clearance process, essentially lying on a federal form, on a federal application process / section of a security clearance. Now, the security clearance, there's another god awful, I can't even tell you how many pages that thing was. The application that I filled out has the name of the college that I went to. Someone completed this form and for some reason put that college on this form. This isn't a document that I completed. So the woman's face is turning all red. Well, however it goes, you're not going to be able to start because we have to blah, 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 blah. I was so, you wouldn't have any idea how pissed off I was. So I go back to the dorms. I was just ranting and raving. I was calling up my professor. I don't want to go to the, nope, you are going to do this internship. We're going to figure this out. I called my family. I was mad. Nope, you're going to do this. They're telling me I have to do this internship. So they call me up and say, guess what? This is like 2 days later. We found the mistake. You can start next week or something, whenever they said I could start. I want to know what the hell happened. And they wouldn't tell me. We found out the issue and it's been resolved. But when I started working, the brothers there pulled me aside and they were pissed off. They told me what happened. They said one of the white dudes who signed up, and he was in the same college I was in, he put that he went to a college in Tennessee and got a 2-year degree. And he didn't. He was just coming here for a bachelor's degree at the same college. He didn't go to a 2-year community college. So I had a 2-year degree in criminal justice. What the heck is the difference? We're both trying to get a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, right? So he was the one that put the name of that college, and they by accident put that name on my form. And the brothers were so PO'd when they said they knew what happened because the word got around, and he was the one that's denied the internship because he completed a false form and the university all got involved. But do you see how important it is when you're dealing with issues with security clearances and having information that's being exchanged and delivered, and then you have knuckleheads coming in here spreading lies, spreading rumors, saying that a person has a relative that they don't have, which could potentially cause the military to accuse that person of lying on documents because they know every single relative you have. Everyone. This is what happened. Not only that, there was a conspiracy to create false information in order to get this service member removed from that service member's military assignment and have this military person discharged under other than honorable circumstances. And let me tell you something, when you're trying to get somebody booted from the military, lickety split, it's not going to be an honorable discharge. So they're conspiring to cause harm to a service member after the service member has been harassed online for simply contributing and participating in what we are doing, which is a noble endeavor. Not only that, they're trying to bait this person into a physical confrontation and making threats to this person, prompting this person to make it clear that this person is prepared to engage in self-defense. So now you are trying to cause a military service person to experience stress. You're causing this person to wonder, is someone going to attack that person? And now you're prompting a concern about what exactly is going on with this person. And it's all bullshit lies. But let me tell you something, people. This is a felony and this is a federal offense. And those engaged in this bullshit behavior need to have their asses locked up. Every single person that participated in that conversation. And now they're trying to say, this didn't happen. It happened. And it was obtained by legal means. See, these idiots like to get on here and think that they're smarter than the average person. Let me tell you something. I've been doing this YouTube thing, I'm sure, for not as long as many of you have. Not everybody on the internet is an idiot. Quite the opposite. You have the most sharpest, on the ball, straight up, diligent, precise, organized people. And many of them participate in the anti-fraud warrior movement activities. They wipe the floor with Umar Johnson. Umar Johnson has to say he has all these degrees because he can't compete with anybody participating in the anti-fraud movement. We are highly intelligent. And listen to this. A good number of people are not even on the freaking YouTube or even social media. Maybe they're on Twitter or something, but they don't even engage in YouTube activities. They're handling business on their own. They don't need to participate in YouTube. They have their own reasons and motivations for making sure we get justice. Let me tell you what else we keep hearing, which is total and complete proof of people not knowing what the hell they're talking about. They don't believe that doxing is a crime. Well, let me show you something. And this is just one of many examples. I can guarantee you I spend a lot more time reading legal documents than they could ever even hope to. In fact, they try to post legal documents and don't even know how the hell to read them. Oh my God. I'm sorry, you have to get the humor in this idiotic bullshit. This is just one of, trust me, many, many cases. New York man sentenced to 24 months in prison for internet offenses, including doxing, swatting, making a false bomb threat, and cyber stalking. He did every single one of these activities or these criminal offenses. One by itself would have been sufficient to get a conviction. The idiot just happened to engage in all of these. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read to you, and you can get this document yourself. When they made this announcement, they categorized each offense and they explained what the offense was. I'm going to go down to the doxing part because he was convicted. Doxing, and they're explaining it, is the act of gathering by licit and illicit means and posting on the internet personal identifying information and other sensitive information about an individual, including, for example, addresses, dates of birth, social security numbers, telephone numbers, email addresses, credit information, employers, and details regarding the individual's children and other family members. Any one of these pieces of information would constitute doxing, and it occurred in this case. So what I want to do also, I want to take you to a more specific area of the complaint where they are specifying to this person who took a plea, pled guilty, like 95% of all people who've been charged with federal offenses. So specific to this person, they list doxing. According to the government evidence, Islam, which is his last name, and his co-conspirators. Get that, people? And his co-conspirators, who I'm sure are also charged. I just didn't look up the information. Posted the PII, which is a personal information, of at least 50 celebrities and state and federal officials on different websites that all share the same domain name. Exposed. Haven't we heard that term how many times? By the non-potty trained element existing on YouTube, which were accessible to anyone anywhere. The natural, inevitable, and intended consequence of this publication of names, social security numbers, dates of birth, addresses, credit reports, and the like was the use of that information by countless others to illicitly obtain credit cards and other finance-related accounts using the identities of the doxing victims, causing many victims to suffer continuing credit issues. The publication of the victim's personal identifying information also revealed to any other would-be harassers or assailants how and where to contact the victims. So you have multiple issues going on. It's just not that the credit was bumped up. They want you to be able to contact these victims so you can continue the harassment. And can anyone answer? Has this been seen at all in this scenario of the military service member? Yes, it has. Has it happened with any other people we're aware of? Yes, it has. This particular situation is beyond foul. And those participating in the bullshit are going to be held accountable, including the person who loves to go around bragging that she's a victim advocate. It's just beyond, oh God, the pale of insulting. Commanded the person to go ahead and do it by saying, get bleep, and identified the person whose name I'm not going to say. Again, if you want to get names and more details, click on Rev G's channel. You can get all the info. I want to make sure you're aware this person is not going to back down. This person is bullseye serious. And here's another thing I want to tell you. Let me tell you when this person engaged in this behavior, because the non-potty trained individual who's been doing this for just 2 months or so, this is what's happened in 2 months. Guess how long this idiot was doing it? February to September 2013. And guess when he pled guilty? July 6, 2015. And here we are, July 2016, when he's ready to be sentenced. And guess how old this person was? 22 years old. The non-potty trained likes to lie and say that he's 22. He's not, he's 23, because we've confirmed it, people. Come on. Whether or not he told immigration a fake birthday when he came over here is one issue. But as far as the records and law enforcement, he's 23. Essentially the same age range, 22, 23. See, young thinking they're smarter than anybody, thinking nobody's going to do anything, thinking no one's going to catch up to them. But here's the kicker, though. The non-potty trained is trying to deny he did this. How are you going to deny you did this when it's on a social media website? Even if he tries to claim somebody doctored it, the government can subpoena the website. How are you going to deny you did it? You can't deny. Everyone that posted information, their name, their location can be gleaned, identified from that website. There's another person using some initials, and we know who this person is. This person didn't learn his lesson when he attacked another anti-fraud warrior and got his ass handed to him. He ran back and told the other non-potty trained individual that I told the military service member to make sure the command is informed. Right on the money, this person was on it. Let me tell you something else, which is why I keep saying, if you have experienced anything like this, make sure you let other people know, because we have gathered information about these individuals. Our purpose was to buttress our cases and those out there who may encounter the same situation. You will have the information that you need to proceed. Do not suffer in silence. Reach out to one of the anti-fraud warriors, because we have information about who these individuals are. We will provide this information to anybody who wants to file any sort of claim or police report, because it has the correct identifying information of these individuals, which was gathered from legitimate legal resources. One of the non-potty trained loves to say he's exposing people, but know this person thought he was slick by going and trying to scrub his social media websites like Twitter, Facebook. What he doesn't know is, long before he was even aware that we knew his actual name or names, because there are a few he uses, the information was already obtained and captured from social media. We just didn't come out and say it. So he's over here thinking he's exposing people and he's got an upper hand. And behind the scenes, we were just laughing like MFers. I'm telling you, people, it was so funny, because he's running around thinking he's above people and has information on them, when all the information on social media that he's put out there has all been captured. And this was even before that interview was posted. And we knew for sure he didn't want that interview out, because he was speaking himself, claiming to have 2 jobs. He gave names of 2 agencies, said where he was from, what city he was living in. He did not want that information out for some reason. But the reason that we thought this was hilarious is, while he was doing so-called exposure videos or exposing videos, when one of the anti-fraud warriors started posting that interview in his own live stream, because I sure as hell am not going to go over there, this non-potty trained individual became frantic and started deleting the interview. Why would you delete an interview? It's a publicly posted interview where this person is speaking. What would be the reason that the non-potty trained individual wanted this interview deleted and not found? Because he knew it was information he didn't want to get out, although it's already in the public. But before that, information was already gathered and captured. People just started letting a little bit out at a time as things started to, I guess, pick up, when this person would make claims that were completely and totally false. But all the information gathered has not been put on social media, like now on social media. It's been there for people that he was dealing with, and he wanted to engage, and he didn't mind them knowing who he was, but he didn't want anybody on YouTube to know who he was. But several people knew exactly who he was and sent multiple people multiple pieces of information. And then there were anti-fraud warriors who are a lot more skilled with computers and research than this non-potty trained individual likes to think that he is. Trust me, people, this is amateur night at the Gong Show. I want to make a huge differentiation between what is happening now and what happens in general on YouTube between civilized, mature adults, which doesn't include the non-potty trained. Civilized, mature adults can engage in fiery, fierce, knockdown, drag out debates, pushing your point, getting loud, getting angry. And guess what? You're still able to exhibit yourself in a decent manner when it comes to how you engage someone. Having a loud voice by itself is not going to be necessarily offensive. You're talking about a topic that is near and dear to you, that you feel so strongly about, and you're trying to get your point across. It doesn't include anything like the non-potty trained. Well, I don't agree with you, so I'm going to put your wife's information out there. Well, I don't like what you said, so I'm going to put your kid's picture. I don't like what you said, I'm going to release your address. That's what the non-potty trained do. Mature adults don't engage in that type of behavior. Whatever the case, let people continue doing what they're doing. If they are not smart enough to disengage from the behavior that they're engaging in, they're too stupid to realize that the more they engage in this behavior, the more evidence is going to be compiled against them. And it happens that some people never learn. They have to actually get locked up. And that is the difference. There is absolutely no obligation to protect a person who's engaging in criminal behavior. That's ridiculous, people. You are going to let yourself suffer, or anyone you know or care about, or you expect someone else to simply suffer when people are violating their federal civil rights. You heard me, civil rights. Violating their privacy, placing themselves and their families at risk. You think because someone comes from an African nation that they should be given a pass? Or someone who was raised with you in the U.S. who's considered African American should be given a pass? Are you serious? You really serious about that? Anti-fraud warriors stand strong and support our service member who's come under attack. We support and we thank all service members, past, present, and future. If you're waiting to enlist, we appreciate your service to our country. We're not going to let people beat up on you. Even though the idiots don't recognize they're benefiting from your service. We are going to hold them accountable if they come after our service members. This is absolutely intolerable, and there's no way in hell it's going to sit the way it is. Something will be done. And for those of you out there who really think that you have to be on social media and risk incarceration, or if you haven't learned and you are electing not to be reform-minded, I have an invitation for you. No, none of us were raised in a perfect family, but I will tell you one thing. One thing that got through very loud and clear from my parents, from I'm sure many of your parents, our people spent too many centuries in chains. Why in the hell would you want anything to do with bars and chains and handcuffs and cages? People poking and prodding at your body. You have no dignity. Your own body doesn't even belong to you. You can't make decisions about your body. That's exactly what happens when you decide to engage and put yourself into the criminal justice system and you don't learn a lesson. You can have my spot if that's where you want to go. I will not be participating. Take my spot and continue to engage in this illegal behavior. For the rest of you who want to remain on board with the anti-fraud warrior mission and reject and cry out against this bullshit abuse against our service member, come along for more. In the meantime, buyer, beware.